Michael, it's Jan. I guess I missed you. 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 I guess
God, I can't think. I need more Mullins.
Hey, and welcome to the Office Field Guide. Today we're looking at performance review. The setup for this one is that it's performance review time, and Michael is still trying to navigate his new relationship with Jan. Oh, and Dwight thinks it's Friday, so let's keep that going.
Hey, it's 12:20. Where the hell's Dwight?
No idea.
Never missed a day in my ass.
Performance Review is the 8th episode of the second season of The Office, or 14th episode overall. It aired in mid-November 2005, and it was viewed by 8 million people. It was written by Larry Wilmore, or as you may know him, Mr. Brown.
I will not call you that.
Well, it's my name. It's not a test, okay?
And it was directed by Paul Feig. This is the only episode that Larry Wilmore has full writer's credits for. So let's review this one. Hey, that's the first time that actually makes sense.
No one asked you anything ever?
So the first thing we need to talk about is that this episode is a topic that's near and dear to me. I work in an office environment, and there is nothing more important to my year and my bonus as my performance review. If you work in a similar environment with a similar process, I'm sure you can relate. So much stress gets bundled into this one meeting, the outcome of which has some large implications for the following year. And that's why this episode has always just stomped my soul into 1,000 pieces.
Angela, you were totally satisfactory this year.
We'll be jumping more into that in the deeper meaning though. For now, in my research, I found that this episode was originally slated to be related to weight loss, hence the cold opening involving the fitness orb. And it's pretty well known around the Office fandom that this cold opening was practiced several times prior to the filming. Each time John Krasinski popped the ball slowly deflated. This time it obviously deflated super fast. The unexpected event is why John Krasinski actually breaks character. Wilmore worked really hard to keep this version in the final cut of the episode, as it was the best take. Otherwise, it would have just been relegated to the bloopers. Interestingly, this episode was centered around the conference room scene. Wilmore called it the heart of the episode. Everything that happens in this episode was either build-up or fallout from the conference room meeting. And you can tell how important this scene was because the cinematography is significantly more calculated in this sequence. Look at how all of these characters are framed while this sequence goes on. Melora Hardin did say that this was one of the most difficult sequences to get through as everyone kept breaking character. And there's so many good bits in this sequence.
What should we do to prepare for Y2K?
What should we do to prepare for Y2K?
While there is a potential nod to the Dwight-Angela relationship in the pilot episode, I do think that the performance review episode is the first episode with significant evidence that there is something going on between Dwight and Angela. While it's not concrete, Dwight's sex life is called into question, and Dwight completely avoids a response. Additionally, Angela tells Kevin and Oscar,
"Office romances are nobody's business but the people involved."
Romances?
okay, and something's always bothered me about Jan's entrance.
Okay, why don't we just step into my...
Okay, that's hilarious, and that actually happened on accident before they filmed the scene. And Melora found it so funny that she said that it had to stay in. Actually, what bothers me is this.
Could you please tell Michael that I'm here?
Sure.
Really? It's 7 feet away. There's a window on your way from the door. There's glass right there. The door is open. Why does she need Pam to tell Michael that she's there? It always gets me. Also, I think that this might be a goof.
You do have coffee breath, by the way, and I don't agree about the BO, but you are very...
But why can everybody hear Michael and Jan arguing through the 2 closed doors? I mean, the reaction shots are great, and knowing that Michael has to walk back in there after this conversation is over is just awesome. But it doesn't quite make sense. What I do find amazing about this conversation is...
I mean, you're obnoxious and rude and stupid and...
I'm pretty sure that parts of this conversation were improvised. Though I'm not sure which parts are improvised, but Michael's told he's stupid, and all he hears is that he's a great guy.
Jan is not in a place where she feels she can have a relationship right now, and it doesn't matter how great a guy I am. And that is all I needed. I'm good.
There's a callback to this exact same concept in the deposition episode in season 4, an episode in which Michael hears almost the exact same things from David Wallace.
David Wallace, what do you want me to say? Come on, he's a nice guy. Counsel, was he being seriously considered for the corporate job? David Wallace? No.
Hey, David. I think you're a nice guy, too.
Michael's ability to only hear what he wants to is top notch, and this definitely leads us to the deeper meaning.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Performance reviews completed by our companies are an opportunity for managers and employees to come together and discuss how the employee's performance was viewed and how the compensation or discipline might be appropriate based on the outcome. Michael is the worst kind of boss to give this type of review because he's not objective. Everything Michael says is based on his feelings.
All right, well, now I'm in a terrible mood. Let's do your performance review.
Because she's conflicted.
Also, Michael, as a manager, is able to be manipulated by his employees to coerce a positive review.
Good work, Stanley. Great performance review. Stanley in the house, everybody. Woo!
The worst part of it is that employees are left with no voice in the matter at all.
I am ready for my performance review.
Okay, great. Your performance has been adequate. You may leave. Goodbye.
Not only does Michael exemplify a bad reviewer doling out biased reviews, he also exemplifies a bad reviewee. Michael's given his own review during this episode when he finally asked Jan for some real feedback on what the problem is in their relationship. Michael only hears that his looks aren't the problem and completely glazes over the negative feedback that could actually help Michael turn things around. He leaves this review with an inflated sense of self that's completely unearned. And while I don't think this episode was written to be a how-to guide, it definitely calls out some things not to do. Relationships thrive on feedback, and character growth, whether in a show or in real life, occur in reviews like this, being formal or informal. Thus, while I don't think the show has a clear moral, if you take the inverse of the action shown, we can learn that the key to character growth is connection to others with openness and honesty from both parties. Case in point is Tom Peets, someone who expressed the need for connection, was ignored, and ultimately his story ended in a very dark way. Or I don't know, maybe this whole episode exists just to set up why Ryan's temp job existed, and maybe the entire reason for the dock crew being at Dunder Mifflin Scranton in the first place. This is the same Tom from Dwight's Season 4 emergency plan, and has been hinted at by the writers to be both the reason for why Ryan's temp job existed, and probably more up for debate why the documentary crew chose the Dunder Mifflin Scranton branch in the first place. I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is that Michael's response to this is really hard to take.
Oh, that guy was weird. All right, next suggestion.
And to be clear, I think this is more the writers just playing with ideas, as Michael has an award ceremony each year to recognize his employees, and it seems like everyone gets a Dundie. But speaking of that, let's give out some of our own Dundies.
Then I gotta get him to the Dundies.
All right, and so the Dundie for the best segment of the episode, for her performance, the build-up, and the writing, goes to Angela Kinsey.
I really enjoy being judged. I believe I hold up very well to even severe scrutiny.
Angela, you were totally satisfactory this year.
I love this sequence. It fits her character perfectly, and I think it's one of the first times that we get to see her character stand out of the crowd. Moving on, the Dundie for the best prep for a performance review goes to Dwight Schrute.
Because I'm awesome! I am awesome!
This sequence is awesome. Dwight comes with a poster he printed out himself with an acronym of his own name, saying his name stands for determination, work, intensity, good worker, hard worker, terrific, and he's holding a Dundie while quoting Lex Luthor, a villain of all people. I love everything about this sequence. But with that, let's rate this thing.
What gives you the right?
The cold opening. I love it. 4 out of 5. Wilmore was spot on for fighting to keep this cut in the final edit of the episode. It's almost perfection. As for the episode itself, this is a hard one. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I've rewritten this several times, trying to articulate what I think the issue is. It is an episode with exceptional bits in it. Michael and Pam.
Pam, you're trustworthy.
Thank you.
And a woman.
Oh, no.
Michael and Stanley.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I did learn it on the streets. On the ghetto, in fact.
Michael and Jan.
Okay, why don't we just step into my...
Michael and Dwight.
Look.
Michael.
Oh, my.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. Oh, God, were you guys making out?
And Michael and Jan again.
obnoxious and rude and stupid, and you do have coffee breath, by the way.
And looking over my notes, there's a ton more. The problem is that this episode's narrative is constructed with the conference room meeting resolving with 5+ minutes left in the episode, leaving the rest of the events of the episode, as genius as some of them are, feeling like the episode just lingers. And this is no offense to Larry Wilmore. This is a great episode with so many great jokes in it. I think it might have just fallen apart in the editing room. But hey, that's just my opinion. What do you think about the performance review episode? Also in the comments today, come up with your own acronym for Dwight's name. Let's see what you can do. I'm going to go with dominant, watchman, iconic, godlike, hemp grower, tiny nose. That was a lot harder than I thought. Have fun. Consider giving this video a like and subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified when we have new content. Next week, we're going to be taking a look at the email surveillance episode. I also have several more videos in the pipeline. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
I guess I missed you.
I missed you too.
I guess I missed you.
I missed you too.
I guess I missed you.
I missed you too.
I guess I missed you.
I missed you too.
I guess I missed you.
I missed you too.
I guess I missed you.
I miss you too.
Grr.